So there's this idea in design that once you find your system, everything just starts to click. Not a style, not a trend, but a system. In this episode, I'm breaking down InkWave, a visual system that I made which yielded some concept merch for the Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Flyers, and Pittsburgh Steelers without looking too copy-paste. And the interesting part of the system is that it didn't come from chasing trends or trying to invent something new. It came from friction, from process, from how I actually like to experiment while I'm drawing. And I really do use that term very loosely. For a long time, I felt like I was chasing style, trying to make something original enough, trying to out-design myself. But most strong visual systems aren't revolutionary, they're just refined. InkWave didn't arrive fully formed. It emerged slowly through repetition, constraint, and the tools that I was using every day. I was always kind of obsessed with lines, or the different styles you could achieve with lines. Whether it's shadowing, cross-hatching, little symmetric parts to drawing, or whatever, straight lines, I was always up in that. Along with that thought, I've always loved creativity through limitation. Just little things that, I'm just gonna stay within this kind of visual system is what I always love to live in. So at the end of the day, InkWave is fairly simple. Didn't want to really put myself too much in a box, but at the same time, going back to what I was talking about with the creativity through limitation, I just felt like, okay, hold on. What if I just keep it just with the lines? Let's see where I could go with that, right? With the iPad, you could kind of explore this a little bit more, just by pressing down a little bit more, and you could adjust it, with the pressure, the whole thing. So I said, you know what? I'm onto something here. I felt there was less hesitation, there was a little bit more commitment per line, and instead of outlining the ideas, the strokes were kind of revealing itself. Now, in the end, I just wanted to add a little bit more dimension to it, so adding like a little bit of a wave, kind of gave it a little bit of that special touch, and of course, that dimension that I was talking about. There's a quote from Edgar Degas that stuck with me. Art is not what you see, but what you make others see. And for me, that's what it was all about. Just one intention. So I kind of just locked myself to a few core rules. Just heavy directional ink strokes, controlled chaos, and basically at the end of the day, the negative space doing a lot of the work. And again, when you step back, you get to see, oh wow, this is what it's about. Whether it's from a logo or basically you do it from a picture that you kind of simplify through halftones or through just shadows and just shapes, but you kind of go over it or you just trace over it, sort of. I kind of stayed within those confines. I didn't want to get too complicated, but also I didn't want it to be too abstract. So for this InkWave piece featuring the Detroit Lions, I stripped the team logo down to its pure silhouette and rebuilt it entirely with pressure-sensitive line work. I mapped flowing wave lines across the shape so that the image appears using nothing but line variation and movement. Then I extended that wave pattern across hats, shirts, and the full collection, just using one consistent visual language across different canvases, turning a traditional NFL logo into a cohesive, wearable artwork. For the Philadelphia Flyers, I did the same thing so you could tell the logo from a distance, as those varied lines subtly revealed the team's logo. Then I layered in flowing wave elements to add dimension and movement. I carried that wave treatment across the entire hat, wrapping it from the front to the sides and all the way to the back in the Flyers' primary colors. So the whole piece feels unified, dynamic, and just built in one consistent visual language. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, I created motion and that gritty industrial energy that fits Pittsburgh. Once the wave identity was locked in, I applied it all across the full collection. Hats, tees, women's v-neck, and even a scarf, adapting the wave layout to each piece. I also added a full InkWave illustration of TJ Watt on the back of the men's tee, keeping one cohesive visual language that still instantly feels like Steelers football. So we've seen a lot of visual systems quite a bit, right? So there's a lot of visual systems that stay within a certain set of guidelines. Some people might think that this is a creative cage, but I feel like it's a little bit of creative leverage, if that makes sense. So when the rules are clear, everything becomes like faster, sharper and just basically more consistent, right? So this InkWave system is sort of the same thing. I mean, we've seen some variants of it. There's some really good artists, not only on Instagram, on TikTok, like all over the place where they kind of do this blind almost, but I just wanted to add a little bit of a dimension to it, that's all. And that's the difference between making individual pieces and building a body of work. InkWave isn't new, but it's kind of mine. One visual system, just different results. And I don't know, I just feel that this is just the beginning. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys a lot. These first videos I put together have been really, really great. I've been having a blast putting those together. If this is the kind of stuff you guys like to listen to or would like to watch, please consider liking and subscribing. It gives me a better idea on what else to present. I have all these different ideas I'd like to put together that kind of puts it within a certain lens. You know, I'm really obsessed with creative marketing. I love design systems. I definitely come from a design background. And of course, I'm kind of reigniting that and putting it to the forefront. There's a lot of products out there these days. There's a lot of AI slop. I'm just trying to bring a little bit of a human touch to this. So with that being said, I just kind of want to present these different ideas with these different tools, these different systems with some of my experience. And I would love to bring it to the forefront for you guys. So if you guys dig this, you know what to do. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of stuff you'd love to see, whether it's for a different sport, different maybe like personalities, maybe for cities, whatever. There's no limit, really. So until then, I'm really looking forward to your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.